Hey sales leaders, welcome to 2025 Brock Boyd CMI, and I want to talk to sales leaders today about some filters that can be premature too early in the process. And the first one that comes to mind is assessments, so personality assessments, a lot of the common ones out there that are assessing either kind of sales drive or personality fit and that sort of thing. If that is the very first step in the process before having a conversation with anyone, what you have to know is that there's a very large percentage of candidates who are going to decline to proceed forward. And a lot of those are the people who are doing very well in their positions, and they're not going to be willing to do something like an assessment before they've heard some details from the hiring manager about the role itself. If you're going to use assessments, which it's big conversation about how useful assessments can be in the hiring process and how accurate they can be. But if you're going to use assessments, it is better to use them after the first conversation with the hiring authority who's been able to share some of the information about the position and essentially get the candidate excited enough to be willing to take that assessment, assuming that they don't need to leave where they are and they're exploring opportunities in case there's something better out there for them. Another one of these would be the why us? Why do you want to come work here in a very first conversation? And yes, the person should have done research on the website. They should have some sense of why they might consider going to work for the company. But it's a really premature time to ask that in an initial conversation because they haven't gotten to hear from a live person at the company what the benefits are to working there, to their product or service, to their sales culture, etc. So this is a better question perhaps for the second or third conversation and see if they've got a good answer. It's a very good question. I just don't think personally that it's a good question for the very first conversation for that reason. And finally, references. Again, could be an hour-long conversation about how valuable the typical reference checks are these days in terms of asking for references and then contacting those references and what percentage of the time they're giving kind of meaningful information about the candidate. But if you're going to run references and you're going to ask for references, the time to do this is at the time of an offer. That's basically the only viable time to be asking for references. The majority of candidates who are currently working and don't have a need to get out of there as quickly as possible are going to be very uncomfortable sharing references before they are at the offer stage. So just a few things to keep in mind when you're thinking about filters for candidates and whether or not it's, the timing is premature when you're planning to do it. That's it for now. Happy hunting.